The conversation surrounding Jake Paul's rise in boxing has always lived somewhere between disbelief and fascination, but his looming showdown with Anthony Joshua has pushed that conversation into an entirely new dimension. What once sounded like impossible fantasy is now a fully sanctioned spectacle preparing to unfold on one of the largest streaming platforms in the world. And as the hype accelerates, fans, analysts, and even legendary fighters are realizing that this event is no longer just about Jake Paul being a disruptive outsider. It is about what happens when the boxing world collides with an unprecedented media force and both sides try to define the future of combat sports in real time. Jake stands transformed, physically and mentally, looking far more focused than in previous training camps. The tightness in his movement, the density in his frame, and the sharpness in his posture suggest a man preparing not for another novelty fight, but for the most daunting challenge of his career. Standing across that ring will be one of boxing's most recognizable giants, a former unified heavyweight champion whose name still carries the weight of thunder. And somehow, against all logic, the world cannot look away. Even Joe Rogan, a longtime advocate for combat realism, admits that this version of Jake Paul looks different. The viral clips circulating online show a fighter who has shed the exaggerated bravado in exchange for a seriousness that hints at genuine danger. Rogan acknowledges that for all the criticism Jake has faced, he has stepped in with real fighters before and absorbed the pressure that comes with that territory. Age, wear, and the slow grind of heavyweight wars may also change the complexion of Joshua's side of the equation. The matchup, once dismissed as absurd, has become strangely intriguing. And as Rogan notes, every great spectacle needs an element of unpredictability. This fight offers exactly that. Former world champion Andre Berto sees another angle altogether. He understands why the public expects Joshua to dominate quickly, but he also recognizes the unpredictable reality of heavyweight boxing. Joshua has not been consistently explosive in recent performances, and Berto believes that variable alone gives Jake a window of opportunity. He notes that Jake's training team is experienced, disciplined, and fully aware of what this fight demands. Youth, conditioning, and fearless ambition have carried Jake farther than most critics ever anticipated. Berto's perspective doesn't dismiss Joshua's overwhelming advantages, but it acknowledges the possibility of disruption in a sport where timing and confidence can rewrite entire narratives in a single punch. Meanwhile, analysts dig deeper into Jake's preparation, particularly his sparring sessions with top heavyweight contenders. Some point out that sparring partners like Frank Sanchez, Lawrence Oakley, or Jared Anderson would never compromise the integrity of their own careers simply for a paycheck. They step into those rounds because it benefits them financially and technically. Jake's camp provides them with big money opportunities, while Jake gains the experience of taking punches from fighters far larger and far more dangerous than anyone he has faced under the lights. Those sessions may not mirror the intensity of fight night, but they expose him to the raw reality of heavyweight power, an experience he cannot afford to lack. Elsewhere, commentators like Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen shift the lens onto Joshua's perspective. They stress that this event is not merely another fight. It is a global showcase that could shape the public perception of boxing for millions of viewers who rarely watch the sport. Facing an influencer on a Netflix stage means Joshua now carries the responsibility of defending boxing's legacy. If he performs with dominance, he reinforces the strength of his division. If he hesitates, if he struggles, if he allows the bout to linger longer than expected, he risks validating critics who claim boxing is losing its edge. The pressure on Joshua is not just to win, but to win with conviction. And the world will be watching. Sports analyst Ade Oladipo reveals yet another twist. Joshua has reportedly adopted new training techniques by working with members of Alexander Usyk's team, sharpening his footwork, timing, and defensive responsibility. The decision suggests that Joshua is preparing for Jake with the same professionalism he applies to elite opposition. But Oladipo argues that Jake is not standing still either. With 6 to 7 years of consistent training, millions invested in coaching, and a lifestyle engineered around performance, Jake has grown from a YouTuber experiment into a structured athlete with real discipline. The fight becomes compelling because both men are evolving at the same time, reshaping their identities as the countdown continues. Analysts across the boxing world describe Jake's decision to face Joshua as one of the boldest moves of his career. He could have continued accumulating moderate wins, building his record safely. Instead, he chose to confront a former heavyweight champion known globally for knockout power. The risk is enormous, but the potential reward is historic. If Jake performs respectably, he shatters the narrative that he is simply a celebrity trespassing in a sacred sport. If he wins, even in a bizarre twist of fate, boxing enters a new era altogether. Yet, fans are reminded that Joshua is no ordinary heavyweight. Experts like Luke Thomas emphasize the intelligence behind Joshua's style. His size is only part of the danger. His timing, ring IQ, and ability to read an opponent's patterns make him deadly even before his punches land. Jake may possess respectable power, but Joshua is built to absorb far greater threats and respond with precision. Thomas acknowledges that Jake's chances are real, but small, and warns that the health risks of such a size disparity cannot be ignored. This is not a typical fight. It is closer to a cinematic moment where a challenger steps into a world built for larger, stronger men. Michael Bisping brings the conversation back into the realm of entertainment. He points out that controversy fuels viewership, and this fight carries more debate than any boxing event in recent memory. Whether fans love Jake or despise him, they will tune in. Whether they admire Joshua or resent the idea of him sharing a ring with a YouTuber, they will watch. The spectacle has already achieved what it was meant to achieve: global attention. And in Bisping's eyes, that ensures the event will be one of the most watched boxing broadcasts of its time. As the world waits, both men remain locked into their own transformation arcs. Jake is shedding the labels that once defined him. Joshua is striving to reclaim the fearsome presence that once ruled the heavyweight division. The collision of these two realities creates a moment that feels almost unreal, yet impossible to ignore. Now the question turns to you. Does Jake Paul have even the slightest chance of shocking the world? Or will Anthony Joshua deliver the decisive performance the boxing community expects? Share your thoughts below, and if you enjoy deep-dive storytelling into the biggest moments in combat sports, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next breakdown. The fight world never sleeps, and neither do we.